Hi readers and writers, welcome back. In the last video, we talked about getting yourself set up for reading and writing at home. And right now, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your materials, about the what, okay? So you probably recognize these Post-its. When I was doing my reading plan, I thought about the materials that I needed in order to do my reading. What physical materials do I need? Like what things do I have to touch that I need to bring with me to read? And then maybe you're doing some work virtually, all right? I had this list of other things that I might need to do my reading or my writing. So every day before you sit down to read or write, I really want you to think about what you need. The great thing about writing is that you can do it pretty much anywhere. You can write on the back of cereal boxes. You can write on paper. You can write in a journal. You can write on lined paper, on blank paper, on colored paper, with markers or pens or pencils. You have the choice. Remember how I told you that in my first video, that right now you get so much more choice? Yeah, your teacher's not going to be there to tell you what you write with, so you get to make your decision. If you like to type and you want to do that, that's also fine. And for reading, you also have a big choice of the materials that you're using, okay? So I want you to think, like I said, what physical things do I need that I can touch, or am I doing something virtual, okay? So I want you to have some way to keep track of your work, to make sure that you're thinking about your volume. That means how much are you reading and writing? And your stamina. That means for how long you are doing your reading and writing. And guess what, guys? This should not feel that new because we do this in school all the time. But now you get to make your decision about if you want to make like a big poster in your room or in your reading space, if you want to make a chart, if you want to keep it on a log in a journal, you get to decide how you're keeping track, okay? So because this video is for access for everybody, I just want to give a little bit of guidance around how long we might be reading, all right? So maybe my friends in kindergarten are reading for a total of 10 minutes a day, while my friends in 5th grade are reading upwards of 45 minutes a day. This is not something that's 100% set in stone. We know that every single reader is different, okay? And every single writer is different, but this is just a guideline. But the most important thing is that you think about yourself and that you make honest goals for yourself on your stamina and on your volume of reading. So if you're in 5th grade and you go like, oh, I read for 5 minutes, I read today, I'm not so sure, okay? It's not really that honest. It's not gonna build your reading muscles. And by the same token, if you're in kindergarten and your parents are saying, read, and you read for already 10 minutes, that should probably be enough, okay? So how about the number of books that we're reading per week, all right? That has to do with stamina, volume, how much are we doing? So if you're someone who is reading between like an A and an I, you probably want to think daily. You want to think about having books that are fresh for you each day. Even if you're rereading them, that's fine, but you're reading many different books each time you sit down to read because they're nice and short. And as you kind of progress down your levels and you're reading more difficult books, you're maybe only reading 1 or 2 or maybe 3 books per week. All right. So we don't want to get into the habit of going through all our reading material and reading like a tiny bit of one book and then a tiny bit of another book. We want to kind of stick to a book and see it through when we get to our longer chapter books. Okay. Now, how else can we keep track of the work that we're doing? So if I am in an earlier grade, like K to 2, something we've been doing in class that you can still do at home is make piles, right? You can take out all the books that you have, and as you read them, you can put them from one pile into another, from one pile into another to make sure that you're keeping track. Maybe you make a little tally mark, or you could even do it with dots. You could even fill in little dots or something like this. So every time you read a book, you put a little dot next to it, all right, on its list. You keep track how many times you reread it because we really could read books many times. We did lessons in school about all different ways to reread, okay? Maybe a cool thing you want to do is take a photo of all the books that you read in a day or a week I'm sorry, not even books, all the things you read in a day or a week. So if you read recipes and labels of cans at home and calendars and different things, maybe you can put it all together and take a picture to share with your class. And another idea is if you liked the readathon log with the little books to color in, you can make one of those for yourself at home to keep track of your reading. How about my older friends? If you're in grades 3 to 5, you can make your own reading log. In there, you should include the title of the book you're reading, potentially the author of the book you're reading, how many pages you read per day, all right, the date, the time. You might have a reading journal where you're keeping track of your reactions. This journal can be physical, like a notebook, or it could be virtual. Like I think I told you that I'm part of a virtual book group, so maybe you want to do something online to share about your reading. And you can make a chart for yourself where you kind of chart the reading work that you're doing each day. In terms of stamina, I would like to share with you a few different ideas for keeping track of the length of your reading time, okay? Some of you have used this in school. Let's see if I can just screen share this with you for a moment. Let's see. Okay, so if you just go to onlinestopwatch.com, classroom timers, there's these different timers here. So you could make a little goal for yourself. For example, I could click on the clock timer and I could say, I'm gonna read today, right now at this time for 15 minutes. And it's a really easy way to keep track of my time. 15, and I set it. And I started, okay? And if you don't like this exact one, there's different options here for you. So you could use online timers, all right? You could use an old-fashioned stopwatch that you have at home, or you could do activity-based. So for example, you could say, I'm gonna read this entire time, or I'm gonna read the entire time that dinner is getting ready, or I'm gonna read the entire time that this song is on, or that this other song is on. So you could base it off of an activity. And now in terms of keeping track of your stamina, it is going to be really important to see your reading patterns from day to day, to see your growth from day to day. So please keep track of your reading, kind of like how we do at school. I'm sure some of you have done this before, where you make a stamina chart to see how long you are reading. So you can put time up here. You might even write a goal for yourself. And then here you can do the dates. This is like a bar graph. So maybe today I read for 14 minutes. And then the other day, the next day I got very distracted. So I was just reading for, 7. And then up here I read a little bit more. Maybe some more realistic times are like today I read for 3 minutes. And then we had a whole bunch of things to do in the family. That's fine, okay? Just keep track of how much you're reading. And the important thing is to work towards a goal. And like I said in my video to your parents, these are difficult times right now and nobody is trying to stress you out more. So it's amazing if you can be reading every day and just be really forgiving with yourself. We know that there's a lot going on, but also try to make some goals to hold yourself accountable. It's like a balance, all right? And you could do a chart if you like a chart better. Can you see this? I think you can. Yes, there we go. If you like a chart better to see how long you're reading for, you could do it on a chart. So, my loves, just to summarize, what was the purpose of this video? The purpose was to go over thinking about the materials. What do I need each day before I read and write? I need to think about the physical materials that I might need, like my glasses, a bookmark, my pillow, my special pen, or what virtual materials do I need? Do I need headphones so nobody else can hear what I'm reading? Do I need to have someone at home help me get onto the app because I lost my password? And a way to keep track of my work, both my volume, how much I'm reading and writing, and my stamina for how long. Okay, lovely readers and writers, I will see you next time.